So yeah, to continue the Soul Calibur 4 discussion, I hate the fact that there are DLC characters, and unfortunately, it's trickled down to other games like Blaze Blue, Continuum Shift, Mortal Kombat. Uh, Mortal Kombat. You can't just call Mortal Kombat. It's coming out in April. I'll get into that in a second. And unfortunately, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, that has DLC characters. I mean, that's coming out in February, I believe. And what I don't like about DLC characters is that it really affects the balance of the game. Like, if you're playing online and you're playing someone who has a character you don't have, there's no way for you to know what that character has since you can't practice with him yourself. So, that's really lame. And second of all, why are they charging for these in the first place? Like, there's always this blanket excuse that developers have. They're like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of rising development costs associated with this HD generation, so we have to charge you for this stuff. You know, if you can't make money out of a $60 fighting game, I think you have a huge problem because A, we're paying $10 more than we did last generation, and a game like say Mortal Kombat Armageddon had like 50 or 60 characters. Admittedly, the fatalities was lame, but the fatality system rather, but still, and and yeah, I mean, fighting games aren't even that big, like in terms of scale. It's just like one small room with two character models. So, what exactly are these development costs? I know they have to make the HD models and stuff, but when you compare this game to like Red Dead Redemption or Uncharted 2, like they shouldn't even be the same price to begin with, let alone these DLC characters and costumes. And Mortal Kombat's even worse because that's coming with retailer exclusive costumes and fatalities, and it also has other DLC that's pretty annoying. They have like collector's edition DLC again with the K, and that's lame. Like, and people will defend this too. They're like, "Oh, but the game you're getting is complete." And but why shouldn't you expect more out of a sequel? Like, why are people comparing it to Mortal Kombat 2? Like, oh, it has more characters than Mortal Kombat 2, so it's complete. Well, yeah, it better have more characters than a 15-year-old game. It's like those people who apologize for Diablo 3. They're like, well, the graphics are way better than what they were in Diablo 2. Well, yeah, they better be. Diablo 2 is like 12 or 13 years old. I think I said Diablo 2. I hope I did. But yeah, it really makes you question why you're paying $60 if you're not getting what you'd expect the sequel to have, aka more costumes and fatalities and stuff like that. So yeah, sorry about that little rant, but I had to get that out of the way. And this is Viva Pinata. Um, it's made by Rare, obviously, and it's the first one. There's a second one out, Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise, I believe, which is basically like an expansion of this one, the definitive version, but that was alright. Not great. Kind of like a pet simulator in a way. With like, it had its own TV show, which I haven't watched. It seemed too kiddie for me, but yeah, it's alright. I'd recommend getting the Trouble in Paradise before this one, though. And here's Mass Effect. I got this back in, I believe, '07. Yeah. And it's a BioWare RPG. I'm sure you all know about this series by now, but I didn't really like this game at all because, trying to remember, but I remember like when I was in the beginning of the game, I had no idea what I was supposed to do or where to go. I'm not asking for like arrows or something like that, but it would have been nice to actually know what I was supposed to do. And I didn't like the gunplay at all. This quote unquote gunplay. Like, I was using the sniper and I was shooting enemies, and I couldn't even tell if I was hitting them or not. Like, the collision detection wasn't clear. And then there's something about it that I didn't know while I was playing, but it's basically like a dice roll. If you shoot near your opponent, like, it basically rolls a die, and depending on what it is, you hit him or you don't. Like it's not like in Call of Duty where if you have your I don't know what the crosshair over the person and shoot him, you're definitely hitting him. It's not like that in this game, so I really didn't like that disconnect. I guess I'm not really a sci-fi person in general. Like I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I don't know. The story didn't really appeal to me either. And based on the cover, it's basically like the baldest, spaciest Marine you've ever seen, so that wasn't appealing to me. Yeah, so that's all the 360 games I have with me. I also have Gears of War 1, which I haven't talked about yet, but I got that game for Christmas. I didn't think I'd like it, but I actually ended up really, really loving it. There isn't much more to say that I haven't said about it. That I haven't said already in the Gears of War 2 review, but here's one little thing that confuses me about the Gears of War series. The enemies you face, for some reason, they always scream like Landwalker, like that's what they call you, which is weird because they also walk on land. So I mean, can they fly or something? Maybe I haven't read up on the Gears of War lore, but it's that's a really weird feature. And that's about it for the games that I actually own. I used to own a few other games that I'll talk about quickly. Halo Reach, I had for like a week or two. Sold that quickly. Some more Halo. It's the last Bungie game. You know what you're getting with that. Had Assassin's Creed 2. It suffers from what a lot of open world games have, like Red Dead Redemption, where in the beginning the story is really interesting and then it kind of goes into autopilot for the middle and it gets boring, so I knew I wouldn't play it again, so I sold it. It was really fun though for a while. Then I have Batman Arkham Asylum, which I still do have, but it's not with me. I have it. It's on eBay right now because I bought the PC version off Steam. I figured I'd rather have that one. And I think that's about it for my 360 collection. I had Dragon Age, but I didn't play it since I knew I wouldn't like it. I got that for free, kind of. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Would have liked to have gone in depth with a few more games, but it's already a 3-part video, so yeah. Thanks for watching. Found some other games to talk about real quick. Sorry about that, but yeah, let's go. So, Gears of War, already talked about that, whatever. Pinball Hall of Fame, the Williams collection. I don't know why the cover is all messed up, but maybe water fell on it. But, yeah, this game is also on the Wii and PS2 and PSP and PS3, but Video Pinball has a lot of Williams tables. Yeah, there isn't much to say about it, but it's actually a really good video pinball simulator, so yeah. And Tony Hawk's Project 8, I held off buying this for a while, but I really did like the demo. I haven't played the single player mode at all, but I free skate all the time, and I used to be a huge fan of Tony Hawk. Like 2 and 3 are one of my favorite games ever. And the physics in this game are really messed up. And it's funny to see how injured your guy can get and how much quote unquote hospital bills you'd have to pay. I haven't played the single player mode like I said, but that'd be interesting if like you actually had to pay those bills. And like depending on how much money you make from these tournaments, like maybe you'd lose money and like you'd be in debt or something. That'd be a pretty interesting mechanic. So maybe you take less risk since you wouldn't want to get injured. If they haven't done that already, they should in a future Tony Hawk game, though I don't know where that series is going at this point. So that concludes like my box games. I also have Bayonetta, but the box got messed up because like someone tripped over a soda or something and it messed up the cover. Luckily the game works. That's a really good game. It's made by the creator of Devil May Cry, Okami and Beautiful Joe. I think one of the Resident Evil games. I'm not sure though. It's a really, really good game. I'd say it's the best character action game to date. Um, Possibly even better than Ninja Gaiden Black on the Xbox, which was originally my favorite. As a really cool like theme. It's like really like Japanese and the like J-pop sounding music, and oh, it's a really really fun game. I consider it better than like God of War and those other experience games. And I don't know where this is right now. I think I let someone borrow it. I don't know why they wanted to borrow it, but Sonic Unleashed. That's one of the worst games I've played this generation, if not the worst. And it actually made me like swear at my TV. Like I never get mad when I play games, but that game is freaking terrible. Even people say the day levels are pretty good. I still disagree with that. It's pretty much like an on rails QTE game. And yeah, it's fast, like Sonic games are quote unquote supposed to be, but yeah, those are lame. But the actual terrible parts of the game are the Werehog stages, where it's basically like a God of War clone, but a really bad God of War clone with terrible checkpoints. And I actually died a few times for some reason, which I don't even do in God of War games. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend that pile of shit. So yeah, that concludes my 360 collection for real this time. I haven't said what my favorite game is for PS3. Obviously, it was Metal Gear 4. If you saw my review of that collection, and for Wii, it was Super Mario Galaxy. It's not quite clear for me for the 360. I'd say there are a lot of good but not great games, or at least maybe there are a lot of great games, but there isn't one that stands out to me like for those other two consoles. But it might actually be one of the games I haven't mentioned in this review. It's an XBLA game, Res HD. And you can say that came out last generation on the Dreamcast, but I didn't play it last gen because it didn't even come out in America on the Dreamcast. And by the time I got a PS2, the game had been long out of print. It was basically out of print the day it came out. It didn't make many copies. It didn't sell very well. But on the 360 version, obviously it's a download for $10, so I made sure I got that since all the critical acclaim, and it definitely even exceeded my expectations. I didn't know what to expect, and it's a really great music game. It's not like the Guitar Hero games where it's like Simon Says, but this is a lot more dynamic. Like when you shoot, it actually makes music, so it was actually made by the if you play with Lumines, the same people made that game, and I hear it's the best on 360 because like it doesn't have all the jagged edges and it's in HD obviously, and it's funny. The Dreamcast one in Japan came with a vibrator controller because the Dreamcast controller didn't have rumble. Well, actually, yeah, it did, but I don't know. I actually don't know why it had a vibrator then, but for the 360, they added that feature through Rumble, and you can actually use 4 controllers at once, and they vibrate independently, so it's not like they all vibrate at the same time. So they go along with the beats really, really well. And that's really cool. That's a really cool feature. And if you don't know what Res is, it's basically like an on-rail shooter. It's tied in with music a lot. It's like a vector-y looking game. I'd highly recommend that to everyone. It's one of my most played games on the 360, even though it's a very short game. I'd say Area 4 and Area 5 are some of the best levels in any game ever. But yeah, that's it this time. For real. Thanks for watching.